Hello, welcome back. For today's practice, I've created a sequence specifically designed for low back pain. So if you're experiencing that, this video is perfect for you. For our practice today, you can use 2 blocks if you do have that at your home or wherever you're practicing. If you don't, no big deal. You can completely do the practice without the blocks. We're going to begin standing at the front of our mat. You can have your feet hip width apart or maybe closer together depending on what feels comfortable. Start to root down into the big toe mound, towards the pinky toe, and then towards the 2 points at the back of the heels. So you're feeling that lock of the feet to the mat. Start to energetically lift through the front of the body, so finding a nice little lift through your chest or sternum. Relax your arms by your sides, palms flip forward. See if you can soften the shoulders down towards the mat, so away from the ears. Begin to soften your facial features. Perhaps you allow the eyes to close for a couple breaths here. And starting to allow anything that's happened so far to fall away from you. Taking the next little while in this practice to really carve this time out for yourself. So not worrying about anything that's going to happen in the future after this practice. Trying to keep the mind in the present moment. Perhaps you can do that by noticing the texture of your breath as you inhale and exhale. Establishing the foundation of your practice through your breath. Trying to breathe primarily in and out the nose so that you can relax the nervous system. Encouraging the nervous system to go into rest and digest as we practice. And taking one more big, beautiful breath in. Slow exhale through the nose. Next inhale, start to reach the arms all the way up. Palms can connect. Feel that lift through the chest. See if you can slightly tuck your tailbone. Bring the navel in towards the spine so you feel the abdominal walls activate. One more deep breath in. As you exhale, begin to fold. Bend in the knees however much you need, folding the body forward. You bend in the knees so that the chest can connect to the thighs. See if you can relax crown of the head or top of the head to point down. We're stretching out the entire back of the body here. Your goal is to try to see if you can let the upper body hang heavy here. Let's start to find that awareness around our breath. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Perhaps that exhale allows you to fold just a tiny bit deeper. Slowly walk your hands over towards the left side, perhaps towards the outer edge of the left foot, and then begin to fold forward again. So now we're targeting the stretch to be a little bit deeper into the right side of the waist. And perhaps you can let the tongue relax to the roof of the mouth so that the jaw can unclench. And then slowly walk your way over to the opposite side. So hands come to the outside of the right foot towards the right edge of the mat. And you continue to fold forward. Sending your breath towards the left side of the waist. Let's make our way back to center. Hands are underneath the shoulders. In our forward fold, let's add a bind. Start to interlace the fingers behind the back. When we interlace the fingers, always try to connect the wrists together as well. Tapping them together, extending the arms, squeezing the shoulder blades, drawing the knuckles up and overhead, keeping your chin slightly tucked in. One more deep breath in. As you exhale, slowly melt the fingertips underneath the shoulders again. You can use your blocks here, or perhaps your hands are just to the mat or to the shins. We're gonna inhale, halfway lift, so you find your variation with the palms. They can be resting on the shins. They can be resting on blocks. Exhale, fold. Slide the blocks off to the side, plant your palms, step one foot back, other foot back. For today, I'm gonna tap my knees down, finding our plank variation. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, slowly with control, draw the chest and the belly down towards the mat so your elbows are hugged in towards the body. You can extend the legs, tops of the feet press into the mat. Elbows are drawing in towards the body, so you're already slightly finding an upper back bend. Forehead is on the mat. Inhale, baby cobra. Just a small upper back bend. As you lift, perhaps you lift the palms, noticing if you're really activating the back body or using more support of the palms. We always want to be strengthening our back muscles when we're doing back bends. Exhale, soften. Curl your toes. Send the seat back to the heels, finding a child's pose. You can keep the toes curled for a brief moment, a couple breaths, if that feels good, into the soles of the feet. We're going to start to add 2 spinal rounds. So you can tap the tops of your feet onto the mat. Seat tries to sink down towards the heels to begin. As you inhale, pick up your forehead, round through the spine. Make this exaggerated, like you're coming into your cat pose. And then as you exhale, begin to dip the hips down. Draw the shoulders back, lift the chest, proud chest, breathe in. As you exhale, draw your chin in, start to puff up through the upper back, mid back, and low back. Send the seat back. We're going to do this one more time. Inhale, you ripple forward. As you exhale, you dip the hips, finding your small heart opener. Squeeze your glutes slightly. And then send your seat back, child's pose. We're going to start to come forward to our tabletop. So coming onto all fours, making sure your wrists are lined underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hip points. Spread the fingers. Press into the back of the knuckles and the fingertips so you avoid bringing all the weight into the wrists. Let's start to draw our belly in towards the spine so you're activating the core, neutral spine. Taking our cat-cows. Inhale, dip the belly, gaze forward. Just gaze a little bit in front of you. You want to keep the length in the back of the neck. Exhale, round. Inhale, cow, extension of the spine. Exhale, cat, flexion of the spine, aka rounding. 2 more times. Perhaps you can let the eyes close, really allowing yourself to tap into the sensations. It's a good way to listen to what the body's communicating with you, instead of focusing on how the physical shape looks like. And then slowly bring yourself back to that neutral spine. We're gonna start to stack our spine. So coming to stand on the shins, slowly letting each part of our vertebra stack one on top of the other. Rolling the shoulders back, setting up for our gate pose. I'm gonna face you guys, but you can stay where you are. Starting with the left leg, you're gonna extend the leg out, toes point forward. As you inhale, reach the arms up. As you exhale, left palm comes down and you start to lean gently towards that side. You're spinning your rib cage open towards the ceiling, getting a nice deep lateral stretch. Come back to the breath. Notice how your breath expands parts of the body as you stretch. Perhaps you want to go a little deeper, bringing the right palm behind the head, bending into the right elbow, and spinning your chest a little bit more towards the ceiling. Slowly bring the arms back out to a T. Bend into the left knee, bring the knee underneath the hip, opposite side. Right leg extends, point the toes forward so foot is flexed. As you inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, gate pose. Start to rest the right palm onto the right shin, lean towards that direction. Can you spin your chest open while maintaining that connection to your breath? Perhaps you test out bending into the left elbow, bringing the palm to the back of the head. Finding one more breath here. Very gently coming out of it, bringing your hands back to a T-like shape, bending into the right knee. Bring the right knee underneath the right hip. You're facing the front of your mat. We're gonna plant the palms in front of us, spread through the fingers, curl the toes, send our seat up for the first downward dog of the practice. Start to walk your feet out. So pedaling the feet, bringing one heel up, pressing the other down. Breathing as deeply as you can here. And reminding yourself that downward dog is an active pose. So you're pressing the palms into the mat, pressing the hips towards the ceiling. And then start to find some stillness in your downward dog. Feet are hip width apart, chin is resting on the chest so you keep a long back of the neck. We're gonna find a twist here. So let's shorten our dog, walking the hands towards the center of the mat or just shortening your stance. Right palm can rest in the middle of the mat or maybe a little closer to the right side. Depends on what feels comfortable for your body. Then we're gonna bring the left hand behind the right ankle and start to pull your chest through to the right side. So you're finding a nice subtle twist in your downward dog. You're actively trying to draw your right hip away from the right armpit. Your gaze is underneath the right armpit towards the ceiling. Taking one more deep breath in. Maybe you make that ujjayi breath, that ocean sound, as you exhale. And then switch. Left palm plants down. You bring the right palm towards the back of the left heel. Start to pull your gaze towards the ceiling, feeling that length between the left hip and the left armpit now. One more breath in. Exhale as slowly as you can through the nose. And then gently bring that right palm down. Perhaps you walk yourself forward, lengthening your dog. We're gonna tap our knees down very softly onto the mat, finding a cross-legged position. So crossing the legs, sitting nice and tall to begin with. A lot of times we tend to tilt forward when we're seated upwards. So just see if you can draw some of your weight back so you feel that the weight is directly resting on your sit bones. Perhaps you roll the shoulders back once, and we're gonna start to fold forward. So as we fold, I want you to keep your sit bones glued to the mat. If you start to notice they lift off, then just ease back out of the pose just a tiny bit. You don't have to go so deep. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, start to walk your fingertips forward. However much is your edge, you don't have to force yourself. Remembering to keep your sit bones glued to the mat. Perhaps you gaze down, keeping your chin slightly tucked in. Or you could even close the eyes here. Finding a nice, restful moment while you stretch out any of that tension in the low back, in the hips, the glutes, the hamstrings. And remembering that our body is one moving vehicle. So even though it might feel like you're getting the deepest stretch in the low back, you really are stretching out the entire back of your body. So be gentle with yourself and find space in the stretch with your breath instead of pulling or tugging yourself towards the ground. And let's start to walk the fingertips over to the left side. Tucking our chin in again, folding over that leg so that you are now targeting the right side of the waist again. And then let's walk ourselves over to the right side. Perhaps your palms stack on top of each other. Listen to the sound of your breath. Is it fluid? Is it extended? Is it shallow? The breath is a good indicator of how we're reacting to the practice. And then slowly walk yourself back to center. Start to stack your spine. Head over heart is going to be the last thing that lifts. We're going to find a reverse bridge. So we're going to plant the hands behind us. Fingertips are going to point towards the body. Uncross the legs. Plant the feet hip width apart. When you're ready, as you inhale, lift the seat. You're squeezing your glutes to lift the hips up. You're keeping your knees hip width apart, so we're avoiding splaying them out. We're drawing our knees in, therefore activating our inner thighs and hips. Perhaps you let the crown of the head go, or you keep the chin tucked in. One more deep breath in. Stay for the exhale. Slow the exhale down through the nose. Gently bring the chin back in. Slowly tap your seat down. Start to extend the left leg, bend into the right knee, and connect the right sole of the foot anywhere along the inside of the left leg, setting up for Janurasana. One thing to think about is you want your left toes to be pointing up towards the ceiling so the foot's not dangling. Therefore, foot is flexed so it protects your knee. You want to bend into the left knee because it's not about having a straight leg pose, it's about folding forward and finding a deep release in the back body again. So we're going to keep our left fingertips beside us. Left knee is bent. As you inhale, reach the right arm up. Lengthen through the upper body as much as you can. And as you exhale, start to fold over the left thigh and reach the right fingers towards the left edge of the foot. And then just begin to bend into that left elbow, folding forward. Tucking your chin in slightly. Thinking about gluing your sit bones down towards the mat as you fold the body forward. And checking in with your breath. And then slowly let go. Walk your hands back, fingers walk back. We're going to switch sides. Extend the right leg, finding Janurasana on the opposite side. Left foot connects to the right leg. Bend into that right knee. Toes are pointing up. Right fingers are resting beside you as you inhale, reach the left arm up. Each inhale in yoga is a moment to lengthen. As you exhale, you begin to fold forward. Left hand reaches for the outside of the right foot. You fold over the thigh. Remember, you're trying to keep length in your spine as you fold. So that's one of the main reasons why we keep our knee bent as we fold. You don't want your knee to lock. You don't want to overstretch the hamstrings. Can you close the eyes? Feel the sensations. Let's take a collective deep inhale together. Stay for the exhale as you melt the chest onto the thigh. And then slowly release, stacking your spine. Extending the left leg. We're going to slowly come onto our backs. So you can reach your arms forward. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, one of the main energy channels in yoga. And as you exhale, slowly melt each joint separately towards the ground until the back of the head can rest. We're going to keep our arms by our sides. Palms are going to face down. Taking a simple inversion, extending the left leg towards the ceiling and the right leg. You want to connect your low back to the mat. So we naturally have a curve in our low back, and we're trying to do the opposite here as we're lying down. So we're actually pressing our low back into the ground so that there's no space between the mat and the low back. So taking away that natural curve. And then we're imagining we're resting our legs up against a wall. This is a good way to reverse the blood flow, improve the circulation. And just let the legs rest. We spend so much time walking, standing, doing all sorts of activities on the feet using our legs. So just giving the legs a little break, switching up the dynamic in the body. I'm going to invite you to close the eyes here. And try your best not to allow yourself to drift off. Even though we're relaxed, we're still present within the body. We still have a conscious awareness around the breath. We're going to transition to our last pose, so you can start to plant the feet onto the mat. We're going to connect the soles of the feet together and let the knees rest towards the edges of the mat, coming into our butterfly. If you are sore in the upper body or just feel like you need a little bit more opening in the chest and in the shoulders, perhaps you reach your arms up and overhead. That's a nice way to let the upper body find some space. If it's too much, you could even cactus the arms, bending into the elbows. And almost feeling that action of pinning your shoulders towards the ground. I'm going to give you a couple moments away from my voice. I'll let you know when we're going to ease out of this pose. You can begin to bring the hands to the outside of the knees, closing the legs just like a book with the assistance of the hands. Letting the knees fall over to the left side, finding a fetal position, maybe making a little pillow with your left arm. Enjoy the natural curve in the spine here. Very slowly on your own time, begin to press yourself up. We're going to come find a comfortable seat in the middle of our mat. As long as your spine is nice and tall, you can find any seated variation. Let the palms rest onto the thighs. With the eyes closed, your focus inwards. Perhaps you scan the body here, noticing how the low back feels now, how the hips, hamstrings, and overall body feel. Notice anything that's coming up for you. Just observe it And then let it pass on by. You're committed to the present moment. And nothing else matters but right now. Let's bring the palms to the heart. Take a deep breath in. Exhale through the mouth. One more deep breath in. Exhale to bow. Perhaps the thumbs connect to the third eye in between the eyebrows. Namaste. Thank you for practicing. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope that relieves some of the pain you might be experiencing in your back. Stay tuned for more videos, and please leave me a comment letting me know how this felt in your body and maybe what this brought up for you. Thank you.